everyone, I'm Megan with the A Cure in Sight podcast, and today we are talking about non-toxic cleaning products that are going to help you de-stress and make your life just a little bit better. And I'm really excited about our guest today because it's a personal friend of mine, Christy Quillen, the owner of Eastern Shore Green Clean. And I'm really excited to have her talk to you guys because not only is she going to bring some really valuable information, but she's also one of the sweetest, most kind-hearted people that you'll ever meet. And I know she takes amazing care of her staff and is just a really great person. So, Christy, we are thrilled to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it also.
All right. So tell us a little bit, just kind of an overview of who you are, what you do, what's your background?
So I've worn many hats my whole life, but in college, I was a psychology major with the goal of just investing in people and helping people. And I thought I would be a clinical psychologist by the end of that. My senior year, I decided I did not want to do that. I didn't want to sit behind a desk for the rest of my life. Although I still loved people, I didn't want to do that. So I actually did a couple other little things and then ultimately ended up in the health and wellness industry. And I was in that for 20 years. I know I'm only look like I'm 20, but that was... So I was in that for 20 years, and it was really a way for me to learn about different things about the body and health and, you know, what it takes to be healthy, what it takes mostly just to feel good inside of your own body and to help people. That was my biggest passion. In 2017, I had some life changes going on in my life personally. I would take some runs on the beach. I was living near on the eastern shore of Maryland, and I would take runs on the beach. And on one of those runs, I just got this vision for my company, Eastern Shore Green Clean. It was that all these companies out there are cleaning people's houses, and I'm sure there's maybe one or two or three or four, but why aren't companies doing this with non-toxic products? Can it be done? Can non-toxic products, which would be very safe for everyone, can that actually clean as good as traditional products? So that was the start of my pursuing this company and to see what we could make of it and how we came to be.
That's an amazing story. I love that you got started running on a beach.
Yes.
That's fantastic. How long have you been in business?
So we officially started in Northern Virginia in 2019, January of 2019.
You use non-toxic products. Do you make them or do you buy them?
So a little mix. The products that we use are proprietary to us. We've come up with our own formulations. So this took a lot of research because there are products on the market now that say that they're non-toxic or they're eco-friendly, and they're just greenwashed. They're not really eco-friendly, and they're certainly not, green products that I would feel comfortable. And then there's the other part of that where something might be green, but it's horrible. Like you just don't, it's just something you use and you don't get good results from it. So we do make some of our products, and we do have another couple of companies that we get products from as well. So we try to have everything exclusive for us so that we have a magic formula.
Why is it so important to use a non-toxic chemical in your home? What are the health benefits?
I love that question. So the jury is still out on really what chemicals and toxic products do to the body. Just so for clarification, toxic products are what we traditionally know as cleaning products. They are the ones that have high odor. They may burn your throat, or you may cough afterwards. Your skin may burn if you're using it without gloves. It'll have warnings, don't mix this and that with each other. That would be something that would be a toxic product. What does it really do? Aside from those initial results where you can feel it initially in your throat, or it makes your eyes burn, or your hands or your skin burn or tingle, that is just a small little thing of what does it do long term. There's a lot of question about that. There's people who've done studies about things. There's certain ingredients that have had studies on them, but over time we just don't know. For a person who's struggling for health, or they're trying to heal their body, a lot of times they just want to cut those things that could be potentially harmful out of their life. And that's where we would come in. And as a cleaning company or as someone who can recommend cleaning products, we can recommend things or use ourselves things that are safe, that don't have that long lingering smell that burns your eyes or burns your throat. It's something that you can feel that, yeah, a baby can walk on the floor and put his or her hands in their mouth, or a dog, licking their paws. There's nothing toxic that's going to potentially enter their body through their saliva, hands, mouth, etc. I'm going to touch on one more thing though. Your skin is your largest organ. And what we put on our skin or what we touch, if it's a chemical, in some cases will enter your bloodstream within 26 seconds. So if we're questioning if these ingredients should be inhaled or touched, let's just eliminate that as a possibility of a hazard or a danger and just put something safe there so that we are not having your skin absorb that or inhale that or anything that could potentially be a toxin to the body that the body's having to fight, especially when you're fighting something else.
Absolutely. And do you have many clients who have cancer?
We do have some that come to us specifically because they are healing and they are undergoing cancer treatment. Depending on what the client asks for us, sometimes they'll ask us to wear masks, but 100% of the time, we make sure that we do not deviate from our core value, which is to use 100% eco-friendly products. So if they're home or if they come home, we know and we are proud of the fact that not only are they not having to breathe or touch anything that's going to potentially harm them with toxin, my staff doesn't have to handle that as well. And if you think about house cleaning staff, if they're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 houses, let's say, that's a lot of exposure. And they are very dear to me. And that is a huge commitment I've made to them as well, is to make sure that they're safe as well.
That makes total sense because I've cleaned the bathroom with bleach before and had to walk out of the bathroom because I can't stop coughing. So if you think about that, there's no possible way that's good for us.
It's true. What's funny, and I mentioned this early on, is in the beginning I thought, can we really compete with traditional products? Because they have a huge market share. Traditional products, oh my gosh, this one has this ingredient and this is for tile, right? So much research has gone into the fact, you mentioned bleach, for example. Just putting that on grout helps it to break down, which means that it becomes more porous, which means water gets trapped there, which means that mold can potentially grow. So our traditional products that we know or we think that's like the best actually aren't the best. There are ways to clean that are actually more effective without using toxins. It doesn't require these products that we have been trained are the best. We can actually do this with natural products and do a better job, which is something I'm super happy about.
I love that you explain the bleach breaking down the grout because that's something I never knew until I met you. And I always cleaned my shower with grout and I always wondered why I had a mold problem in the shower. Never keep it at bay and I was always battling it. And so that made, when you said that, it made total sense. And I had the moment of, oh my gosh, I'm doing something that I think is helpful and I'm actually hurting my shower and myself.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I love, my mom was a teacher. I actually taught kindergarten for 2 years. That was one of those little side things I did. Educating people is really important. And I think that's part of where the hole is, the why people don't just switch to using different products or eco-friendly. They really think it's not going to do as good a job. And educating people and saying, actually, it's going to do better and you don't need those other things. That's where I feel I get the most excited, is being able to tell people this is where the studies have shown and this is what we can do.
Yeah, and if you think about it, people were keeping their houses clean well before any of those products were ever invented.
Yes, absolutely.
We talked a little bit before about how your skin can absorb the chemicals. You also can breathe them in. So there's a lot of room there for health problems to arise for yourself, your family members, your pets. Also, if you're all, like you said, if you're already struggling with something that you're already trying to heal, you don't need that aggravating your system. What can we replace those with?
So we ourselves, we have a lot of proprietary things, but I will say that be an avid label reader. Just look at things. A good household staple cleaning product would be vinegar, white vinegar. You can't use it on every surface, like definitely not on hardwood floors. People say, "Oh, it's fine." It's not. um, it's not good on granite or stone. It will not be a good fit for that, but it would be all right for like wood cabinets. If you mix it maybe 50% water, 50% vinegar, do it on cabinets to clean them. Or if you want to disinfect a toilet bowl, for example, you can use that. Another good thing that you could use, research and go online and look for just really good eco-friendly dish soap. You can use dish soap for so much. You can use it to clean inside of a toilet bowl. You can use it to, of course, clean the inside of a sink. You can use it to clean a bathtub. You can use it to clean walls. And it's one product that you can use for many different things. The key is just to research and find one that actually ranks really high for being effective and eco-friendly, and give it a try and see how it works for you.
That's a great idea. I wouldn't have thought to use dish soap, but that makes a lot of sense. I mean, when they have the oil spills and they clean the ducts, it's always the dish soap. So that makes a lot.
And not all dish soap is the same. So you'd have to read and research and then try it out.
We talked about how cleaning with non-toxic products affects our physical body. Let's talk about the mental side of it. How does it affect you and your stress level when you come into a clean home that smells nice versus a clutter and the chaos? What does that do to you?
Wow. I think that's the heartbeat of what my company does. Yes, we use eco-friendly products. I love all that. The heartbeat is what it does emotionally and psychologically to somebody. Sometimes, especially when you're going through something difficult, whether it's healing or maybe you're going through a life transition where you just have a lot of stress, just knowing that when you come home and that to-do list, that huge thing of cleaning the house is off of your list, it's such a stress reliever. It's a weight lifted off of your shoulders, knowing that it's not one of those things you have to spend a whole day especially when you don't have the strength to do it. It's done. Another thing, especially when you have staff, like my amazing staff, I will say I have the absolute best staff in the world. Yes, I do. No one can steal them because I love them. I think just sometimes even when someone's there and they know that the staff is there, and just to have somebody to just talk to, it doesn't have to be about anything serious, but to have somebody that is trustworthy, that is kind, that has a pleasant face, that can just listen to you. Sometimes even if it's just talking about random stuff like the dog and his muddy paws or whatever, it also helps just get your head out of other spaces rather than just focusing on one thing. It kind of breaks that barrier of saying, okay, there's other things and other people, and it kind of gives you that mental diversion that sometimes people really need. And just seeing everything in place and organized, it's psychologically and emotionally very restful. And that's what I think people who are going through anything where they're struggling, that's something that's really important. It just allows the person to be able to rest. And that's good.
I always feel better when our house is clean and tidy, and it's not as often as I'd like it to be, but it definitely plays into it for sure. Do you offer any kind of consultations for people who don't live close to you? Because you're in the Northern Virginia area. If somebody's watching from a different state, could they talk to you and sort of get help on what kind of products they can use and what they can do?
I love that question. It's not something that we have done yet, although it's on my trajectory and radar that we want to pour into more people. Absolutely. I'd be happy to help anyone. Anyone who is interested can just look at our website and reach out to us there on our contact page. And our website is very long, but it is easternshoregreenclean.com.
And we'll put that in the show notes as well so that you guys can find it easily. And what else, Christy? What else have we not talked about yet?
I think I think the biggest thing for someone who's going through any kind of healing, whether it's physical, emotional, psychological, whatever, I think the biggest thing is to maintain that sense inside of their mind that not everything is going to be important. Not everything is going to be the highest priority that it used to be, maybe. And that is totally okay. And one of those is a perfectly clean house where, maybe we've come in and we've cleaned for someone, but maybe they just haven't had the strength to put things away. Let's say someone brought over some things that they needed to sort and they just put them in the foyer. It's okay not to have that same level of expectation on yourself that you had previously, because you're in a different space, in a different place in your life. That's really, really okay. And to give yourself grace, to know that this too shall pass, this season will pass, and maybe those things will become more important to you again. But right now, just give yourself grace and don't put pressure on yourself. Even when you have the shoulds in your mind, just let them go for now. It's really okay. And honestly, I think you will agree with me, Megan. When we go into someone's house, most people aren't taking a white glove and running it along the wall to make sure everything is perfect, or they're not going to judge you that you've got a box from Amazon sitting on your floor. No one really cares about that. I think we think people care. Well, we don't. So just don't worry about it.
That's a great thing to talk about, because when you have a cleaning service come into your house, there is this kind of stigma of you have to clean before the cleaners come, and people will go through this whole process of cleaning the house before the cleaners get there. Speak to us about that.
It's a thing. Like we tell clients all the time, they're going to do it. I do it. Like if my staff is coming here, I do it too, because gosh, the laundry is, if I move the laundry out of the way, then they don't have to, try to work around it. So I get it, and it's going to happen, and people are going to do it no matter how often we say don't worry about it. It's the industry standard. House cleaning companies across the world know that the clients are going to do that, and it's totally okay. But no pressure. They don't have to. If the counter is clean, it does make our job a little easier to be able to get to every part of that counter. But no worries. It's not that big of a deal.
That's funny. I actually have a funny story. One time I was coming home and it was the middle of the day and there was a strange car in my driveway. And I was like, whoa, that's weird. And so I went inside and I could hear people talking in my house. And I was like, oh, what the heck? Like, I don't know if I should call the police or like what I should do. So I just kind of said like, hello. And there was a whole team of cleaners in my house. And they had gotten the wrong street. So they had the right number of the house, wrong street.
Gosh.
And I hadn't pre-cleaned the house for them because I didn't know they were coming. And it was one of those moments of such embarrassment of like, number one, I had to tell them like, you're in the wrong house. And number two, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Like, and the dogs are just sitting there watching them with little smiles. And I was like, well, clearly you guys are no help. But
Oh my gosh.
it was really funny. And I just remember thinking, I would have never left the house like this if cleaners were really coming.
It's funny. We've had that happen a couple of times too, where the staff have walked in and pet the dog and, and then stood up and realized this is not where we're supposed to be. So, so, oh my gosh. But I'm glad your dogs were okay with that whole scenario.
They were thrilled. They were like, hey, our friends are here. Come on in. I just walked in and I remember sitting there, or them sitting there, smiling at the cleaners and then just looking at me like, hey, meet our friends.
That's cute. That's
It was funny. Yeah, it was funny. Unfortunately, I got there too soon and they had just started. But how weird would that have been to a clean house? I would have been like, what happened here?
The magical fairies, who did this?
I am glad I got there on the early side because I wouldn't have wanted to waste their time because I know they had somewhere they really had to go.
That's
It was interesting.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, Christy, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and tell us about the benefits of eco-friendly and non-toxic products for our health and our environment too. We didn't really touch on environment too much. Do you want to add to that?
That was one of the things where it kind of started. I mean, it's always been people first, 100%. Beyond that, But the second part of that, just going through those runs on the Eastern Shore and seeing that ecosystem where the wild ponies are and all the birds and all the animals, the fox, whatever, everything that we flush down the drain does go back into that ecosystem. People are first. And then, of course, that ecosystem eventually also affects animals or people as well. So it's just this one circle, which is kind of our symbol is a wave. And that's where we get that the three waves. One is just to invest in the staff who learn about eco-friendly products and practices, who invest in clients, and then the clients can go and teach those things to other people in the rest of the world. So it's just this three wave symbol, which shows that we're giving back into all of those areas.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. And I mean, I feel like that just speaks to your personality too.
Thank you, Megan.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Christy. We appreciate your time and all of the information. And to everyone who's watching right now, please subscribe. It helps us so much more than we can tell you. We have a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers this year, and we're getting close, but we're still not there. So please hit subscribe. You can actually do it under multiple email accounts too. So just, if you want to. But anyway, we just thank you so much for being here, for tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on any of the platforms that you get your podcast. No matter where you're doing it, it's still so helpful to us. So we really appreciate you. You can go to our website, acurensight.org. If there's a button at the top to subscribe to our newsletter if you want to get all of the information. We also have our Tuesday night Zoom meetings where you can connect with other OMIs, and our social media platforms. You can connect with us on all of those. We would love to hear from you and see how we can help you. And we want to thank our sponsor, Castle Bioscience, for sponsoring this podcast and being there to support us every step of the way. And again, I'm Megan with A Cure in Sight, and I will see you guys next time.
Thank you.